And the next presentation is Empower the Students of Today to Create the World of Tomorrow, and it'll be presented by Lydia Smyers, who's General Manager for U.S. Education, Windows, and Devices for Microsoft, and Mike Cicchetti, who's Director of Technology Services and Innovation at Volusia County Schools. And they will share how they're collaborating to unlock limitless learning. Please welcome Lydia and Mike.
So I'm Lydia Smyers. I'm the GM of U.S. Education for Microsoft, and I'm thrilled to be here and thrilled to, frankly, come and listen and learn and hear about not only the challenges that each of you face in your districts today, working towards your objectives, your priorities, and your strategic agenda, but also to share, to listen, to learn, and to hear from you and to talk about how Microsoft can continue to be a partner. We are in a time of tremendous educational transformation. We're seeing transformation across the industry. It is a time that you all know well. In fact, it's actually being driven by the digital transformation that we see that each of us is speaking about here today. With that digital transformation, of course, comes disruption, massive disruption. Job growth changes, technology changes, innovations. We are now talking about the jobs of tomorrow that don't exist today and how we can harness the opportunities there for this world. In education, we're seeing massive shifts, as you know. These shifts go from the passive learner to the active learner. And fundamentally, there's change in how teachers are teaching and how students are learning. At Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more. In fact, we know that critical to this success is the importance of U.S. education. A few years back, when we launched Windows 10, a very big time in, a big launch for the company, our CEO, Satya Nadella, he actually wasn't at the New York Stock Exchange celebrating Windows 10 launch. He wasn't actually in Germany at an automobile manufacturer celebrating the Windows 10 launch. In fact, Satya Nadella was in Kenya. He was in Kenya actually visiting schools, talking to hundreds of teachers and students about how technology has shaped their learning opportunity. He came back to headquarters after that trip and said, you know what? We have to tremendously invest in this opportunity and put our R&D efforts towards education, because we see that human potential is amplified when technology is within reach. It's been incredible to be a part of it, but we know the reality of it is all of these great advances in technology and all these changing in our learning pathways and all these new systems, but this is probably the reality a lot of us face today. So much work spent by you all in the room wiring things together on the back end, making things work, and that's hard, because every minute spent cobbling systems together, getting data to transfer, is a minute spent not in the classroom, changing pedagogy, helping our teachers teach, and helping our students learn. So at Microsoft, we're actually committed to Ims Standards. I stand here today, and Mike and I were talking before the show, I stand here today to say we are committed to these standards, and it is an important part of our innovation agenda. We spend $10 billion a year in R&D, and that R&D is focused on driving a more collaborative environment that helps folks not just collaborate, but actually construct. Our investment is dedicated to creating accessibility initiatives that are foundational to our product and really designed first to assure the 1 billion individuals across the globe that have accessibility opportunities and challenges can be met with our products and solutions. Ultimately, when we create this easy button, when we work together across the industry with partners and districts, I've seen the impact. I've seen districts that have been able to harness the opportunities and the value of this and change the classroom experiences. Our case for IMS Global Standards is clear, and we are committed to it. We believe and see that it can accelerate time to value with your environments. We know that fundamentally when you have a seamless teacher and student experience and logons are more smooth and graceful, things just work. We know, and we spoke about it here at the panel, just awesome opportunity to really unleash and unlock insights, learnings from all the data that's now available. Ultimately, you get to lower IT costs, and fundamentally, you can empower students and teachers with choice, and that was discussed earlier as well. So I'd like to share just 3 examples of Microsoft's commitment to these standards and how we've seen this have an impact in districts. And then I'll pass it over to Mike, who can really make it personal and bring it home for us. First of all, with Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is our collaboration platform. We've developed an education-specific version that harnesses the power of an enterprise-class collaboration platform and brings to it key education features like assignments, classroom integration, and more. We've seen districts truly transform learning experiences. I was down in Oslo County in North Carolina, and they've set up teams using School Data Sync and the One Roster v1.1, and they have teachers who just open up their teams and instantly structure is there with the student roster, and during my visits, within a classroom, easily, teachers were able to deliver personalized learning, creating channels and teams to address a wide range of student learners, facilitating a classroom around these conversations, having digital and physical experiences happening in real time. This is truly transformed learning, and it was exciting to see the power of what the IMS standards has brought to that environment. Second scenario. OneNote is an incredible canvas for educators. We've enhanced it with Class Notebook, which allows private and shared collaboration spaces between teachers and students. This is a place where folks don't just kind of type and chat and collaborate. It's actually where construction happens, creation happens, trigonometry, geometry, inking, feedback, rich multimedia, all on the OneNote platform. But when we actually embrace the integration that we see with One Roster 1v1 with the Microsoft Education Connector, the result is tremendous workflow improvements for the teacher. We know we can save, the studies have said, around 60% of teacher administrative time, quick clicks and points to get your grades into your LMS. Grading is faster now than just flipping over a piece of paper and actually writing the grade right there on the sheet. True change in workflows that ultimately allow teachers to spend more time teaching. And the last scenario that I'll share is actually integration in LMS. And Mike's going to be one of the best speakers to talk about this story, but where from your LMS now, because of our LTI integration support, OneNote, you can actually assign and create OneNote assignments, have them conducted right through your LMS window, and have it be a completely seamless system. We support over 35 LMSs and SISs, and that number is growing. And where I've seen these in action, it's been remarkable, the difference, the simplicity that it brings in the ultimate experience. But I'm sure what's really important is hearing from a school district about their experiences. So Mike Cicchetti, welcome to have you here, Director of Technology Services and Innovation at Volusia County. You've been an awesome partner for us in your adoption of Office 365. I'd love for you to share a little bit about how Microsoft solution has helped power your classrooms, but also the difference that the IMS standards have made.
Sure. Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate it. Rob and IMS for allowing us the time up here for the lightning talk. I'm going to bring it back to 3 years ago as well when I first attended a LILI conference. So if there's any first-timers here, you're seeing something that was not here 3 years ago. And the impression I had when I first came in was it was an us versus them. And I can tell you over the course of 3 years, this has changed dramatically between vendors and providers, suppliers, and users and districts. It is much more of a common conversation now, and it's very great to see that we don't have to have this conflict that seemingly was there as a perception, not necessarily a reality. So I appreciate what we're able to do as a partner and a solution provider, as well as a district. In terms of how IMS standards have helped us through what Microsoft allows us to provide and through their leadership, we have seen that with the LTI integration inside of our LMS, we find adoption to go a lot more smoother. And we heard from the first panel, I think the number was 538, but I'm probably exaggerating that a little more, of tools that people are using. And what we found in districts, and if you're a K-12 district, you know this, that number is probably realistic because they're going out to look for something that works or they believe works. And so they're going to find our teachers will dabble in anything and everything. And it will come back to an industry like ourselves in the IT world, and it'll say, how do I make this work? And we ask the question. Well, is it IMS certified? Or is it using LTI? Is it one roster? And we don't have to necessarily do that when we look at our Microsoft products. And so when we have the integration come inside of our LMS, we're seeing the adoption grow. We're seeing the tools that are being provided within the tool that are allowing them to gain access quicker be used. Things like the learning tools. So we heard accessibility being one of the very big key features. We have students in our schools, in our districts, that do not want to use an adaptable piece of technology, even though it functionally will work, because they feel different. And so in the case of an adaptable or an ESE scenario, they're able to use the same device as our students are, using the same platform, but using it in a more modified way to meet their needs. And that's only driven because we are able to use a resource that can plug and play inside of our ecosystem. An ecosystem is a very big word that we hear this year. Interoperability is another word that we love, and I'm just going to put love on that. We'll stay away from the S word. And they took my bar stool. I was ready to do a flash dance. Interoperability rained down on here, but we're going to step back on that. But to be honest, when Lydia gave me a call and we talked about this session, I wanted to really wrap ourselves around the fact that as a partner, Microsoft has consistently been here since I've been here for 3 years, on stage asking what's next, what can we assist with, and that's helping us bring all the rest of the providers and suppliers together to say, well, we have this standard and we have these needs. How do we make this all work together? And how do we get those tools inside of each other to make the effort for our staff, our teachers who do not have the time, because you will always hear that if you visit a district, time is of the essence. And so every second matters. And we count our days by seconds and minutes. And we have to get away from days and weeks and months. And I think that's one big value that we gain from IMS. It's one big value that Microsoft has provided us. And overall, it's just a unique environment now to be a part of in education, K-12 being the specific one that I'm talking about today. But that's some of the benefits that we have seen with the integration. It just opens up the notion of I can get to it and I don't have to look elsewhere. And that's where you start to accrue that 538 resources that don't necessarily talk back to anything, and they lose their weekends trying to get that information out.
Thanks, Mike. That's awesome. Right, as you said, with adoption comes usage, and usage brings the student outcomes that we're all so keen to see. Just last month, Microsoft announced a new initiative that is focused on outcomes for all, with student outcomes being a central part of that. AI for Accessibility is a new $25 million program that Microsoft is committed to harnessing the innovation in our community, bringing grants to initiatives to support the youth adoption of artificial intelligence and how that can impact and empower our accessibility needs across the globe. I encourage you to kind of take a quick look at that. bringing accessibility solutions, as Mike points out, integrated to the experience is fundamental to what we know is important and what we're trying to achieve as part of our mission of empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We're not successful if you're not successful, so thank you for your time today.
Thank you.